no matter the location. From O-A-K-L-A to L-V, I'm a Raider.
Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raider Report. Time to get into today's mailbag. These are questions from y'all during our Tuesday live show. If you don't know what I'm talking about for live shows, we go live every single Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. Another reason to subscribe. Let's go to B. Rabe coming in here. In a fantasy land, what's your favorite move the Raiders could make? No cap issues or contract issues. I mean, in a perfect world filled with cupcakes, butterflies, and rainbows, to be honest, it's probably figuring out a way. You guys might hate me for this. Like, if I can get anybody I want, I'm going to get Patrick Mahomes, and I'm going to just get him on the Raiders because that man's a freak. Or the Houston Texans are willing to just give us Deshaun Watson, and he's got no issues in the background. That's probably the perfect scenario. All right, Scott, you're next up here. The team needs to play a deep ball game like we did in the 70s. Use Carr like Stabler and Carlson like Blanda. So here's the issue. I think that Derek Carr is a much more talented quarterback than Ken Stabler ever was. Did Ken win? Yes, but the defenses that Stabler had, much different than what Derek Carr has. I don't want to sit here and say from a statistical standpoint, Carr's the greatest quarterback the Raiders have because statistics now are so much different. When I actually watch the tape and I look at mechanics, I actually think Rich Gannon, that, those few years, he was probably the best quarterback that the Raiders had. If you don't like it, you can at me at Mitchell Renz 365. But in terms of deep ball, the Raiders try to stretch the ball downfield. I mean, he was the second best deep ball thrower in the league. When you have Henry Ruggs, when you have John Brown, these guys need to be able to stay healthy. But I'm with you. The Raiders do need to learn how to stretch the ball downfield just a little bit more. Bradley Chubb's mom. All right, so nickel cornerback is our weakest spot on the roster. Should the Raiders sign Brian Poole? Yes, it's really as simple as that. If you could tell me right now, I could get Brian Poole on this roster, I'd be like, where do I sign up? Now, the money might not work out right away. The Raiders are sitting somewhere as I make this video with like $3.9 million in cap space, which is like 29th in the league. But for Poole, he's the best slot corner out there on the market. And if you're playing as the start Nevin Lawson, that's a major red flag for me. I like Nate Hobbs, and I even like somebody like Amik Robertson. But Brian Poole's a better player right now, and I'm trying to win right now. So that's why I'm going to go with Brian Poole here. But let me know down in the comment section. I'm curious, which wide receiver do y'all think has the highest upside, right? Because we're talking a lot about Ruggs. We talk a lot about Edwards. We talk John Brown, Hunter Renfrow. But which guy do you honestly think has the highest upside? Go down in the comment section to let me know. Because for me, if you were to tell me which receiver is ended up finishing as like a top 10 receiver, I'd actually say Brian Edwards simply because of the overall skill set. Super chat time coming in from Big Time Willie. Adams trade idea. Edwards, Snead, and 2 first-rounders. Is that enough to get Davante Adams? Yeah, I actually think it is. I don't know if you need to actually offer Edwards, Snead, and 2 first-rounders. First, I'd go with just 2 first-round picks for Adams because, you also have to consider you're going to have to pay him in the long haul. So sometimes giving up all those draft capitals and, good players like Edwards doesn't make sense if he's not going to be on the team for a long term. So I'd say 2 first-round picks, and then you give him a monster contract like 5 years, $115 million. That way he's not going anywhere. Another super chat coming in from Cruiser_TM. So how about Brady throwing shade at Carr? It actually hasn't been confirmed whether or not it's been true. If you don't know what he's talking about, Tom Brady was on a show, and I don't even remember what the hell the name is. It doesn't matter. And said that he was upset that those mother effers decided to stick with the quarterback. Pro Football Talk said that he was talking about that Brady was talking about the Raiders and Derek Carr. That actually hasn't been confirmed. I've seen people say the Titans and Ryan Tannehill. I've seen people say the 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo. Would it surprise me if it was about the Raiders? No, not really. But do I also care? No. But in terms of also the whole argument between Vincent Bonsignore and then Mike Florio on Pro Football Talk, I thought it was the softest argument I have ever seen from both of those guys. Another question coming in here from B-Rabe. Every year there's a surprise cut. Who you got for this year? Well, I've actually already gotten a few surprise cuts right. So before I said Mo Hurst, I said Mo Hurst is going to be a surprise cut. I know I had some people hating on me for that. Amik Robertson could actually be a surprise cut. There's been some reports out there that if he doesn't have a solid training camp, he could actually get the axe. I personally wouldn't do that. I'll also throw out the name Brandon Parker. When you look at every single pick made in that 2018 draft, there's only 2 players that remain on the roster. That's a lie. 3 players remaining on that roster. Colt Miller, he ain't going anywhere. Brandon Parker, and then Marcel Aitman. So Aitman, I don't even know if he makes the team. Parker, though, I do think would be a surprise cut. Let's go to Young Buck Kyle. What do you think our safety depth chart will look like week 1? It's a great question. I do think the Raiders did a phenomenal job rebuilding the safety room. In terms of strong safeties, Jonathan Abram is going to be there. I don't know if Gillespie's going to play strong or free. He could probably move in and out. Obviously, Merrick's going to be the free safety as well. Crawford could be an interesting name to keep in mind. We always, doubt Dallin Levitt every single year, but he's a great special teams player. Another person to really keep in mind there. And then Carl Joseph. I know they're going to end up probably keeping 4 of those dudes. So Carl Joseph, Gillespie, Abram, Merrick. Those are the 4 safeties that I know are going to make the roster. Now, today's show is presented by Savvy Lifestyle. If you guys haven't already, go check out Savvy Lifestyle. It's owned by a big-time Raiders fan, and he's hooking us up with some stainless steel black knives. And, yeah, they even say Savvy Lifestyle on them. I know 4th of July is right around the corner, plus tailgating season's just here, too. And if you guys don't have an awesome set of knives, then what the hell are you doing? All you got to do is go to chatsports.com/knife, where you can save 50% off with code 50Raiders. Now, it's usually $99.99. But with this deal we got going on, it's $49.99. So seriously, go ahead and take advantage of this deal right now. Code 50Raiders down in the comments section. If you missed Father's Day, it's all good. We can still hook you up with this great deal. It's not going anywhere. Chatsports.com/knife. 17-piece professional knife set. It's got all different sizes of knives. You can see the pizza cutter there as well. It also has a sharpener, so these things will never die. If you haven't seen the post that I put on Instagram, I literally go full fruit ninja. I cut some fruit in half. Seriously, check it out. You're going to love the product. And, again, it literally looks like Raiders knife set. Chatsports.com/knife. Super chat time coming in from Kevin Jackson. Mitch! I know I've heard you say you wouldn't re-sign Jacobs. This hurts my heart. Explanation, please. It just comes down to money, because if Jacobs is good as what he's going to be over the next 2 years, which, let's face it, he's a great running back, he's probably going to be looking at a deal somewhere of what Aaron Jones got. He might even ask for a little bit more. So, 4 years, $12 million per year, $48 million. And, again, that literally could be more in a few years from now. I'm not going to pay Josh Jacobs that. I'm also just not going to pay many running backs that, because it's such an easy position to replace. I mean, look what the Dallas Cowboys did. They gave Zeke 5 years, $90 million, and now he's maybe a top 10 running back. Maybe. It's just simply because that position takes so much of a beating that it's really hard to be able to stay healthy. So as much as I love Jacobs and as much as I want him on the team, he's going to ask for way too much money, which is why I'm going to say no, just go get somebody in the draft. I got Raider fan 75. Why haven't the Raiders signed Melvin Ingram yet? 2 reasons. 1, I think Melvin Ingram's asking for too much money. The Raiders have only $3.9 million in cap space. And then the second, I actually don't even know if he's 100% healthy. He had played in only 7 games last year, 10 tackles, no sacks, and he's really struggled staying healthy throughout his entire career. So the fact that he's visited the Chiefs, the fact that he's visited the Dolphins, neither of those teams signed him yet. I think it's between money and its overall health. Now, if the Raiders do sign Melvin Ingram, dude, we're not only going to make a video, I am going live, and those are the most fun shows. Like, when the Raiders sign a player, we go live, and we just let the show go and take its path. We're going to be asking questions from you. If you super chat, we're taking drinks, we're having a good old time. But if you are trying to stay up to date on the Raiders, if you want to stay up to date on these Raiders mailbags, easiest way to do it is to subscribe to the show. And I know I tell people all the time, sub, and people get annoyed that I tell people to sub, but we're always finding new people come across this channel literally every single day. To be honest, 55% of my views come from people who aren't even subscribed. So if those 55% of people just hit the sub button, I wouldn't have to tell you every episode to subscribe. Imagine a world where that could happen. I promise y'all, I'm hoping it can happen someday. But seriously, until it does, I need you to subscribe. Let's go to Raider Jay. What up, Jay? Raiders offensive MVP and defensive MVP this year. Who you got? Derek Carr for offensive MVP. It's probably the chalky answer, but it's the one that makes the most sense. Defensive MVP, I'm going to go Gakwe. I'm a believer he's going to have somewhere between 45 tackles. That actually might be a stretch. 35 tackles, double-digit sacks. He's really going to transform that defensive line. LC Raider, you're next up here. Hey, Mitch, I was challenged at work on how much of a Raiders fan I am, so I named as many players as our roster off the top of my head. I named 65 positions as well. How many can you list off? It's actually a really good question. I'd probably be around 65 to 70 as well. And the only reason is I have a really good photographic memory of when I think about our graphics. So the fact that you can do that without thinking of all the graphic packages that I have here could be, kudos to you. But since I did the 53-man roster video, that's how I would think of it. But I'm actually going to challenge myself after. So message me on IG and let me know how many you got. If you guys want to take this challenge this week and do it yourself, I'm curious how many you guys can name. All right, let's go to Jason, whose uncle's name is Master. Raiders top 15 defense in the NFL. What are your thoughts on this? I sure freaking hope so. On paper, they have a top 15 defense. I mean, you have a really talented unit, I believe, up front and in the linebacking unit. It really comes down to that secondary. If Casey Hayward can be great, and if, our young players like Merritt can step up, if Jonathan Abram can be as good as what we need him to be, it comes down to the secondary. I'm confident in the linebackers. I'm confident in the defensive line. If secondary can play top 15, we're going to be a damn good defense. Obviously, I can't get to every single one of y'all's questions, so for that, I apologize. If you could, hit me up on Instagram, at Mitchell Renz 365 for every single week for the next 4 weeks. I'm going to do an IG live for at least like 15 to 30 minutes, and I'm going to go live on Thursday. I got like an 8-hour car ride. Well, actually, this is going to be going out on a later date for those of you that are not watching this live, so forget it. I'm going to be going live a lot more often on Instagram, and if I missed your question, just hit me up at Mitchell Renz 365. All right, we got a super chat coming in from Lama Ramirez. What do you think about our record this season? So I already made a video, Lama, if you haven't seen it yet, where I break down score predictions every single Raiders game this upcoming season. I have them going 10-7. If you want to go check out that video, please do. But the Raiders are a hard team to be able to wrap my mind around simply because I could see them going 5-12. Could also see them going 12-5. So we'll see, but fingers crossed on the playoffs.